All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me. And let's see here. And then we'll start talking. I want to see if this is actually live. So I'm just verifying. Let's go look here. If not, we're getting a recording so I can reshare it later. But if we can get this up running live, that would be even better. More. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. I need to log in this way. Allow. We're getting this taken care of and we will get started. Okay, that one's taking effect. Okay, there we go. And let me shoot this. All right, so we're live on YouTube, but I want to be live. Actually, wrong live. Hold on. There we go. Okay. One moment. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now. We'll get this shared out and we'll get started. Okay, so there we go. All right, so tonight I wanted to talk to you, and I also wanted to test out this Zoom to Facebook Live. So I know it's going to work tomorrow night for the webinar, but we are live on Facebook and it's up and running. It should be on the GF Mom Certified page and on my personal page. So hi, good evening. Live at Starbucks, so I'm trying to be quiet, but I wanted to talk about hacking your health. Yesterday, I had an honor and a privilege to actually see Josh Linkner, the author of Hacking Innovation live and in person, and listen to him talking about ways that you can hack technology and hack innovation in general, and that you can just kind of think outside the box to improve things in your life, right? And I got to thinking like, oh my gosh, you could use these same 5 things that he talked about for your health. And so I want to walk through those things. That hacking doesn't always have to be negative. That was one of the things he really explained to us that made a lot of sense. And that as I was talking this morning and telling you all that I would be live tonight, that Will was like, hey, you got to make sure you tell him that hacking doesn't have to be negative. And it absolutely doesn't. But hackers think and act differently, right? And so there's things that we can learn from a hacker. We can learn ways that they come up with ideas. They have a different mindset. They have different tactics, right? Nothing's off limits to them. So why is it off limits when it's in our health? Why do we ever think that we can't go that way, or there's a boundary, or it's stopping us, right? And so you need to think of hacking as a tool in your kit. And in reading Chris Kresser's book, Unconventional Medicine, it's making me really start to think like, oh my gosh, outside the box, like how much stuff we really can get if we really want it. There's so much on demand. There's so much information. There's things that you as the patient can take into your own hands, and you may not even need an appointment with a medical professional depending on what you're wanting to do. So hacking methodology is one of the things that Josh was talking about, right? And that methodology is discovering an alternative path. Whether that alternative path is integrated medicine, functional medicine, holistic medicine, Chinese medicine, those are all different alternatives, right? Chiropractic is another alternative. But it's got to be clever, and it's got to solve a problem for you. And if it's not solving your problem, then it's probably not the correct hack for you. And so we can borrow that model from the hacker of solving problems in an innovative way and improve our own health. One of the greatest hackers, if you think about it, or people that have that hacking mindset, is Mark Zuckerberg. Look at all he's done for Facebook. Their headquarters is actually located at one hacker away. Now, what an address, right? I mean, he's just saying, like, look at us. This is awesome. We think differently. And I want to encourage you, the community that I work with and the people I educate and the people I coach, to think differently when it comes to your own health. We can't stand still and become complacent. We have to jump from one point of success to the next, right? You can't just stand there and be like, I'm dying, and do nothing about it. You have to take it in your own hands. And when you grab hold of that, that's the point where it changes for you. You have to be willing to admit that I'm hurt, I'm sick, I don't feel good, I need help. And at that helping point, that's where I can help you. That's where other people can help you get to where you can embrace this other mindset. And that's what coaches come into place, right? To help you gain that mindset to think outside your standard boundaries and begin to expand in what is possible for you. So he talked about five steps to have this hacking mindset. And I'm going to relay it to health because that's my world. But number one is that every barrier can be penetrated. And it's so true, right? For a long time, people thought, oh, I have to have a doctor's appointment in order to go get my blood drawn. I have to have an appointment in order for me to know what my vitamin D is, or to get a CBC, right? Not true. Anymore, you can order your blood work off the internet, go to the lab, get a blood draw. Sometimes if it's a saliva test, blood sugar test, you can do all that at home. You don't need a regular doctor to get a blood draw. That's you can penetrate every one of those barriers, right? The other thing is you have to elevate your thinking to a different level. And you do that by gaining more knowledge, by going to, like, Wellness Rising is coming up in Chicago on Monday. And that's a indoor farmers market for the winter that's bringing wellness into the hands of the general population. So it's graspable. So it's something you can do. Going and listening to alternative approaches, right? Going and trying an acupuncture. Maybe going to the chiropractor and saying, hey, will it solve my problem? Thinking about doing meditation. Maybe it's breathing if you're stressed or you have anxiety, right? Thinking outside that barrier. Every barrier can be penetrated is the actual number one thing to achieve in a hacker mindset. But challenge the assumptions. Challenge the doctor. Go get the second opinion. Go get the third opinion. Go to the doctor that says, that you can do anything. And I would even challenge you to go and pull your own DNA. Get your own genome. Understand it for yourself. Number two is compasses over maps. And you're like, what does that mean? Well, in our old way of working, there was a map, right? And the map said, if you need to get from point A to point B, you have to stay on the road. Well, I'm here to tell you that to get from point A to point B, you don't have to stay on the road. A lot of my clients will tell you the same thing. If the road says that you're getting older and that's just to be expected because that's old age, you're going to lose your memory, you're going to have dementia. Not true. If the road says that anybody with obesity, the map says, is going to end up with type 2 diabetes, not true. If the map says that the only way to lose weight is to go on a diet and to count calories, not true. You have to think about where you want to go and have a vision and be able to see what you want. And then you can get there however it works for you. You don't have to follow the map. You could go in, circles. You could jump there. You could fly there. You can get on a rocket ship. But you have to have a compass. You have to know where you want to be. So a lot of things I always ask my clients when I first take them in is, if I had the magic wand, if I was the fairy godmother, in 90 days, what would your life look like? And a lot of people say, I'd be 40 pounds lighter. I'd have energy. My knees wouldn't hurt. But I want to tell you a story about somebody that just this last week, right? So a week ago, Tuesday, so a week and a half ago now, I sat down with an older couple. He had just recently went on insulin shots. And his thing was, he doesn't want to take the shots. It's an inconvenience. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be on these shots. And I was like, okay, so will you do anything to get off the shots? anything within reason, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't want the shots. They're just not convenient. And so he started walking me through what he normally eats and everything like that. And there were a few tiny little tweaks. And I was like, can you not eat this at breakfast? And can you eat this instead? And can you not do this at dinner? And can you eat this instead? And he said, for how long? And I said, for 3 weeks. Just do it for 3 weeks for me. And if there's no change, so be it. But if there's change, then we're going to talk about the change. And is it good or is it bad? He called me yesterday. It was really cool. And he said, do you know I haven't had to give myself a shot for 2 whole days? And I was like, so your blood sugar is regulated? And he's like, yeah, it went from over 220 down in the 70s and 80s. And that's in less than a week. And with 2 tiny changes. I didn't change his medicine. I didn't say stop taking shots. I just said, monitor your blood sugar, take the shots when you need them, and make these 2 little tweaks, right? And he was willing to do the tweaks. And that was because he knew where he wanted to go. He didn't want the shots anymore. That was his compass. His compass said no more shots. No more, none of that. And he didn't necessarily have to follow the map to get there. He just knew where he wanted to go, and then he could achieve it. It's a complete mindset shift when this happens. Number 3 is nothing is static. And that is so, so true. Nothing is static. Because we often overestimate the risk of trying something new, and we underestimate the risk of if we actually achieve it, or we underestimate the risk of if we stay static. So if you think of health in general, if you stay static, that means that you're going to be normal. And if you've ever seen any of my normal videos, you know that normal is nowhere you want to live. Normal means that you're the person that gets cancer. Normal means you're the person that takes medication. Normal means that you have type 2 diabetes. Normal means you're overweight. Normal means a lot of things for people in the US. Normal means you eat a standard American diet. Nobody wants to be normal because normal comes with all these side effects and consequences. So if you say that nothing is static and everything is, ebb and flow and everything is fluid, then you got to think about that uniquely different idea, right? What is that uniquely different thing? Could you do squats while you're brushing your teeth? Some people are like, Tiffany, you're crazy. Yeah, I know I'm not. I already know that. But if you stay in the static and you keep doing the same thing and nothing ever changes, that's the definition of insanity. So if you continue to take your medication for the rest of your life and you expect your health to get better, or you expect your kidney stones to go away, and you're never really changing anything else, you're insane. I might be crazy, but you're insane. So you have to know that nothing is static and nothing can stay static. You also have to know that you have to borrow ideas from these hackers. You have to borrow the ideas to do more with less. So if you're on a budget, go buy the organic groceries that are on the dollar off rack because they have a brown spot in them, and use the good part. You've got to be innovative with what's accessible to you. And I know that that's different for a lot of people. There's so much information available to you, and there's so many places that you can do your blood work, that you can get your metabolic stuff, you can get your DNA for under $200. That's less than health insurance for a whole month, right? So that is number 3, right? Nothing is static. Number 4 is quantity is a forced multiplier. And you're like, what does that mean? That means that it's not up to one person. There's a community willing to help you. Whether you're gluten-free and you live in the gluten-free community, or whether you have an autoimmune disease and you need an autoimmune community, right? Somebody that also is going through the same stuff with you. There's a whole community. Crowdsourcing is huge. And in on-demand medicine, you can actually go out to websites where people are sharing their own blood work, sharing their results, giving you suggestions, and you take it all in as research and information, and you try things for yourself, right? And when I say a multiplier is quantity is the force multiplier, is what Josh was saying in hacking innovation. That means you just don't change one thing. You just don't count calories, right? We don't even count calories. None of my clients ever have to count a calorie. It means you do multiple things. So maybe you change the way you're eating. Maybe you eat more often. Maybe you change the food you're eating. Maybe you add an enzyme when you are eating cooked food. Maybe you increase your water. Maybe you start walking, to and from your car every day, and you park in the back of the parking lot. It's those small little things, small little actions that when you multiply them together are huge and have a huge difference for you. And that's where the quantity is the force multiplier. It's getting that community. It's doing the small little action steps to bring a huge change and a huge shift for you. When I go out and I speak this past year, my signature speech was all around 5 steps to healing inflammation, because those 5 things, when they combine, change people's lives in a week. And they have to do them. They have to do all of them. But it's life-changing. And some of them go back because you fall back into commonality. You fall back into what's comfortable. You fall back into it's just easier because that's what your brain knows, and you haven't regrown the brain patterns. Yes, you can change your brain patterns and you can grow new neurons. Your brain is not static, just like nothing else in life is static. But you have to be willing to do it long enough that you embrace the change, that your brain is rewired and you grow the new neurons. All right? So you have to run the experiment is what Josh was saying. Lots of little experiments lead to breakthroughs. And the first experiment may not work, but the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one might take off and be genius. It might change your life. And then competency is the only credential that matters, right? And that's so true in health. Just because you're an MD doesn't mean you're God. Just because you're an oncologist doesn't mean you know how to cure cancer. People that have competency, people that have testimonials, people that have done it before you, they've come before you, they know what worked for them. They can help you find what's going to work for you. And no, not everybody's the same. Not every body is the same. Everybody is different. Everybody's an individual. Your cells are different. Your microbiome is different. The bacteria that live in your gut is different. So yes, one solution is not a fit all. So when we think about pharmaceuticals, one pill will not fix everybody. That one pill that helps somebody with their blood sugar may give somebody else a huge other issue. You have to think about challenge, the hierarchical assumptions. We have to challenge the norm. We have to challenge the things that people say was, the good example is the American Heart Association. They tell you that you need to eat whole wheat. You need to go back to eating healthy grains. Well, I'm here to tell you that the American Heart Association president had a heart attack this past week at the age of 52. Their assumptions and their hierarchical things didn't work. You should challenge that. You guys should know that one slice of whole wheat bread has more sugar in it than a whole Snickers candy bar. A full Snickers candy bar. Not a fun size, a full one. So you might as well eat the Snickers and enjoy life than worry about changing to brown bread. There's other ways to lower your blood sugar. So you have to challenge those assumptions. You have to go deeper. You have to follow the money is another thing. A lot of things, we hear and it's marketing and it's propaganda. And when you actually look for who's paying the ads or who's sponsored the documentary, the money will speak volumes. You have to do more with less, and you have to innovate what's accessible to you. Honestly, you do. There's a great example, and it's a YouTube video, and I would encourage you when you get off this webinar to go to YouTube and look this up. I want you to go look up American Ninja Warrior Kevin Bull, B-U-L-L. The crazy thing is he did something that 16 other people had never done before him. He wasn't a bodybuilder. He wasn't anybody like that. He was actually a computer programmer. He challenged the normal, and he found out if you go upside down, you flip it on its 180. You go after the opposite, it got him where he needed to be. And it's an amazing video to see what a shift in mindset, that thinking outside the boundaries, because just because you had seen everybody else do it, doesn't mean that that's the way it should have been done. It doesn't mean that you have to follow in their path. And you can do something different. Hacking innovation is a challenge. It's something you have to live and breathe. You have to change your mindset. The ideas become contagious. They do what they did to me. They bring you passion. They bring a business. They go out there and I change people's lives on a daily basis, and I love just hearing the stories. But it's also about co-creating, right? And co-creating means that you show up at like Wellness Rising events, or you show up at places where there's multiple people sharing information and ideas. You show up at meetup groups and you co-create and you share your own testimonial, so that they can learn from your experience and they can learn what worked for you, so they can experiment and they can try it in their own lives. It means that you create momentum and you become unstoppable, to be honest. Your health will never be the same when you actually start doing things and you hack the innovation. You hack the health system and you hack what, in a good way, brings a positive result to you. You have to let go of what seems normal. You have to let go of what you're being told by the powers that be to go see the greatness. Okay? Have a great night. I hope this inspires you to find one thing in your life that you're going to change. And if you want to change 5 things, get in contact with me. If you're looking for a coach for 2018 because you're ready to say, hey, Tiffany, I am done living the way I've been living. I am ready to take this on. I'm ready for this challenge. Let's go hack my health. Let's get on this path to wellness. Shoot a comment below this video. I'll get a hold of you. If you want to private message me your phone number, that's even better. I'll call you. Because I want to hear more stories. I want to hear more about people changing their lives. Honestly, go upside down. Go outside the boundaries. Don't take it for what it is. Don't take it for face value. Go out there and change your health so that people come up to you and say, what are you doing? You look amazing. You look so great. I want to look like you when you're, I want to do what you're doing. And then you can share your story. Talk to y'all soon.